Hands reached up for
Hello and welcome back to the
heaven's
Joyfully
gleam.
Free Journey podcast. I'm Lacey, your host, and today I have a dear friend with me, Kimberly Olden. Kimberly is one of the sweetest people I know. She has a heart of gold, and today we're just going to do a little girl chat and see where we go. Most notably, I will say Kimberly is a woman of many talents. Outside of what she does professionally, she has a passion for women, for God's word, and connecting them together, the two together. Actually spearheads an amazing organization. I hope that we can talk about that a little bit too as well. Welcome, Kimberly. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
We're on the blue couch. I haven't done this in a minute. So this is just girl time. We're just sharing and learning a little bit more about you. So the name of the podcast is The Joyfully Free Journey. And really the idea is to find joy wherever we are. Because a lot of times we see like the highlight reels and what people have going on that they want to share with the world. But behind closed doors, we're all on a journey together. And I would love to learn a little bit more about your journey. Okay. You're a girl from Georgia. Yes. You're here in South Carolina. But outside of the roles that you play, who is Kimberly? What do you love? What is bringing you joy right now?
Who is Kimberly? Kimberly is a social butterfly.
I think I could tell.
I just love people. I love good times. I love good vibes. I just love like being around people that make me feel good, make me feel loved, and then I can just let my hair down and have a good time with. Of course, I love the color purple. I should have worn purple today, but it's okay.
Honestly, it is all good. You look great in green, by the way.
I love purple. I feel like I come off very extroverted, but when I'm home, like I love just being a homebody. Like on the couch, curled up with the dog and watching a show.
I think that's amazing. Yeah, we can have our people personalities like when we're around people because you're in the people field and the helping field, which I can't wait to learn a little bit more about that journey in nursing. But yeah, I love getting to know my guests as they are, not who they are. Exactly. Yeah. So how did you come to love the color purple? I'm just so curious. Because it feels like part of your personality. Would you say purple is part of your personality? I was scrolling through your Instagram and like pictures and stuff. And the picture that I'll have to show you the picture. You got some really dope pictures made recently. And I was like, oh, that purple background is everything.
Yes. I don't know. Just growing up, like I just always loved the color purple. Like I just was a purple girl. My room was purple when I was younger. I used to just like all things purple. As far as career goes, I'm like when I graduate and become like a nurse midwife, like I'm gonna wear purple every day. Like if my closet could just be all purple,
I'm gonna get you for my thank you gift. I always like to ask, what is one place, one person, or one thing that brings you joy? You can answer all three, but just
Oh, this is gonna be tough. Okay, a person, I would say my mom. We're best friends.
Yeah,
and she's a nurse too. So
okay,
I feel like I'm her favorite. Whether she wants to admit that or not, it's fine. But I know place would be home in Georgia. Like,
okay,
my parents' house. They've had that house for over 20 years. It's the house we grew up in. So I think that place brings me a lot of joy. Just going home and just like you get to be a child again, like being in your parents' house. Like, so I love that thing, helping babies come into the world, being there for moms, like that brings me so much joy. Regardless of how many times I've seen it, like I'm always like, oh my gosh, this is beautiful every time. And every time is different.
okay. So I would love to talk about that. Since you brought it up, you are a labor and delivery nurse currently studying to become a certified nurse midwife.
Yes.
So we talked a little bit about this before hitting record. Tell me a little bit about how you turned what was initially a curiosity into a full-blown passion and career.
Okay. So love babies, love women growing up. Just was still drawn to them all the time. Like wanted to know what they were having, when they were due, how they were feeling. I watched a TLC a birthing story on TLC growing up.
Girl, A Baby Story was one of my favorites.
Love it. And I feel like that just even fueled my passion even more because it's like, yes, this is real. This is And it's so weird to be like 9, 10 years old watching stuff like that.
Watching a full-on labor.
Reproductive health where babies come from all the things. And that just, she never forced me to go into nursing. And I love that about her. She was always like, are you sure? Like, do you really want to do this? Like, it's hard, but do you really love it? And I was like, no, I really want to do it. I don't feel pressure to do it because you're a nurse. Like, I want to do it. So she definitely fostered that. So if there was opportunities for me to like go shadow or watch, certain things, she was like, go see if this is something you really want to do. So saw my first birth in college, and it was like the light bulb went off, and I was like, forever.
So you were not grossed out?
No, I wasn't grossed out. I can do all the things related to labor and birth. What grosses me out is something that I would never have to really deal with.
Okay.
As far as like my career in nursing.
I love talking to people that do things that I would be like, yeah, I don't think that I could do that. But that's good because we need people who are passionate about
It's
it.
really not that bad.
Yeah.
So you just own.
No,
For me, it's not that bad.
Right.
For somebody else, but see, I also couldn't be a dentist.
Why?
I can't be in somebody's mouth. People are like, but you're. And I'm like, it's different. It's different.
No, that's so interesting.
It's different.
Okay, and I will co-sign on that. So, the first birth that I ever saw, I feel like it was in a class. So we had to do early childhood development. Like there was a class that we had to absolutely take, and I don't know if it was for biology, if it was for like I was trying to figure out my major. I went all around the world trying to figure out a major in college. And that particular one, we're in early childhood, and like they had it. It was there. It was part of the class. We had to watch an unedited video of a birth. And I was like, I was not grossed out, but I also was like, I don't think that's my ministry. But it's so beautiful. I feel like birth and like having life be brought into the world. What does that feel like for you when you see that parent hold their child?
It's just, I feel like it's really like an indescribable feeling. I just am so happy. And then just knowing like, this was what I was put on the earth to do.
Okay.
And how thankful they are for me for being there in that moment. Because it's such a sacred, such a vulnerable moment. Like they always said, that's the closest a woman comes to death is childbirth. So to be there in that moment, like coaching them, guiding them through, holding a hand, wiping a forehead, holding a leg, like whatever. And then to see their baby come out and they're healthy, baby's healthy, like they're doing fine. And they're just looking down at their baby. It's just like, you did it. Like, you're a mom. Congratulations. Thank you for allowing me to be a part. I think what really gets me is when dads hold the babies, though. Like, seeing the mom, that's one thing. But seeing the dad, it's like they're like so scared. They're like, the baby's so fragile. Like, they don't want to drive. Like, they don't want to break it. I'm like, you won't break it. It's yours. Like, bring it close. Sit in the chair. Like, you're a dad. Congratulations.
Aww.
So, it's just beautiful.
I love that. And that's just one part of your multifaceted life. You're also a co-founder of a Christian women's organization called Bible Babes. Tell me about Bible Babes. These girls are about their business. They are. And then you approach me and you're like, I'm going to need to come to one of those. Tell me how that even started.
Oh, Bible
How did you
Babes.
guys even get to the point where you began? How did it start?
Okay, so it literally started as a group chat with like maybe 4 girls that just went to church together. Tiana, co-founder, loves a group chat name. If you don't know that about her, she loves a group chat name.
Okay.
We were in the group and she was like, we need a name. We were like, okay, we'll just be Bible Babes. Like, just, it was cute. It's cute. It's catchy. It's fun. And we would like go to church together, go to different events at church. We'd go to lunch, do Bible studies together. It was just a girl group chat. We were just friends that loved the Lord. We're working on their relationships with the Lord and loved each other. So it started off as that. And then we made shirts when we went to an abstinent convention in Georgia. And we had Bible Babes on the shirt. So everybody was like, well, how do we get a shirt? How do we be a part? We're like, oh, we just make these like, we can get you a shirt. It's no big deal. It's no big deal. We'll get you a shirt. And then, so that was in August. And then October, November, the Lord placed it on my heart for us to make period packs for the homeless. So
I love that.
We raised money. And at this point, the group had grown a little bit and made the period packs. And while we were doing that, like the Lord was taking on me and Tiana's heart. And we were like, we should fast and we should pray and we should ask the Lord, like, is something bigger here than what we believe it is? Because at this point, other people had asked us, like, so when you guys going to start a ministry? So when are you guys going to turn this into a ministry? And we were like, we don't know what to talk about. That was not our game plan. Wow. It was just a group chat. That's all it was. So after we prayed and fasted, we met up and we were like, it's a ministry. And I didn't want to do it. I tell people that all the time. They be like, stop saying it. I didn't want to do it. Okay.
Okay.
I was like, Moses, like, get somebody else to do it. I told Tiana, I said, girl, I'll be your right hand woman. Whatever you need, I will support you. Whatever you need. I said, but I don't want to do it. I don't feel called. Like, I don't feel like I'm enough to be a servant leader. Like, I have my own stuff going on. I'm not her big grant, but like, I have my own stuff going on. I have the things that I struggle with that I feel like I get delivered from or pimp for, and then I fall back into the same thing. So it's like, who am I to be stewarding women trying to grow their relationships? And I'm up here falling short. That's why I didn't want to do it. And I fought with that for a while. And the Lord, the night we met, and I said I didn't want to do it, she even said, who are you to say you can't do it? And I was like, girl, bye. I don't want to hear them say what I say. Get somebody else to do it. Like, whatever. I went in there and I started just writing and talking to the Lord. And I was like, Lord, I really don't want to do this. I was like, but if this is something you're really calling me to, like, I'll be obedient. Like, I'll do it, but I don't want to do it. And, you know, we want you guys to be the OGs because you were kind of here before it was really a ministry. And what are your thoughts on it? And they were like, finally, you finally did it. Like, this is great. We're like, oh, so y'all been in there. This was supposed to be something.
Wow.
And we're late to the party. So that's really how it started.
I know. I didn't know that. And but honestly, I feel like that's God, though, to take what you consider maybe like an insecurity or like you mentioned Moses. So he said that I'm slow of speech, slow of tongue, like that he had a stutter.
Yeah, he's like, I can't do this.
But God's like, but no, I chose you. Wow.
Yeah. And me and Tiana actually bonded. So a lot of people think that me and Tiana have been friends for years. Me and Tiana have maybe been friends. It's 2026, going on 3 years. I'm in 2023. But yeah, me and her bonded and got really close because we were both going through heartbreak at the same time. So we were brokenhearted and just trying to like really get ourselves right with God, like try to heal, do the work that we need to become the women that we knew God was calling us to be, and the women that we wanted to be for our one day husbands. So that's how me and her really bonded. So Bible Babies really came out of heartbreak, us bonding, a group chat, and now it is what it is today.
Again, very much like God to use all things to work all things together for our good. And honestly, for other people, for those who are not aware, Bible Babes is a thriving ministry. She's downplaying this a lot. I was introduced to Bible Babes through the girl who was doing my hair, Candace. And she was going on and on about, love this group that I'm a part of, and I had heard like whispers. Jordan, who's was one of maybe my second in-person guest, maybe my first in-person guest outside of Lamar. She told me about Bible Babes. I'm like, who are these girls? I keep hearing about Bible Babes, and then I saw you guys at the Juneteenth event last year, and I was like, okay, this is really, really a group. This is really a group. I need to know who these girls are and just get to know your story. And I love that. I love that God is using you and continues to use and grow. And in fact, you guys are growing right now.
Growing. It's a lot, especially when I never saw this for myself.
Correct.
You know, so me and Tiana, we try not to put limits on what God is doing. We kind of just go with the flow. But sometimes we do be like, we moving a little too fast. So like I said, like it's over 200 people in our group me. And I think we're over like 1,000 people that follow us on Instagram. Somebody new is asking to join the group me or asking how they can be part. Like every day we get a DM. Wow. Come on, like we welcome everybody.
One thing that I love is that when I hopped on, I believe 2 weeks ago, the Bible study. Yes, I hopped on a little late. I hopped on. I'm a work in progress. I'm working on saying my best yes to stuff and not just having FOMO. But I mean, the Bible study was. Why are you laughing at me? Because I was like, 45 minutes late to the Bible. It came right on time. I mean, that was really good. I'm believing that he's going to send the people to help that will lift up your arms because you were obedient. And I feel like that's what happens with God. Like, we just have to say that initial yes. He's going to work it all out and make it exactly what he needs it to be. Which
we're grateful. We're grateful. He already be sending people to us. Like this morning, we literally woke up. I woke up to a message from one of the babes, and she was like, I feel like you guys said something about needing somebody to like help with your social media and like with the calendar and stuff. And she was like, I used to do graphics in college. I still have my Canva subscription. So if you guys, don't mind, like I would love to offer that to you guys. And she's like, but if you have somebody that's fine to like just keep me in mind. I said, girl, you're our answered prayer. I said, because they really be me and Tiana. And if we can hand that off to somebody, like, that takes a lot off of trying to post on social media, trying to get the fire out. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. So thank you for coming.
I love that. And yeah, there's more people becoming more aware of what you have going on. I love your partnership with Better You Connect.
Yes,
And
Samson.
I mean, Samson's amazing. I want to have him and Jazz on the podcast soon. Just, it's so cool. I would just say I love seeing people in their lanes, not in a limiting way, but really just running with the
Yeah.
vision that God has given them. And I think it's amazing. Absolutely think it's amazing. Speaking of God, you're a woman of faith. Everybody isn't in church ministry. I am in church ministry. I'm called to serve on staff, but everyone is not called to do that. I know you're in ministry and the different aspects and things you're involved in. What does that look like to marry your faith with your passion and with your calling that wasn't exactly what you intended it to be, but it is very much a calling that you have right now?
In regards to working or like Bible babes?
Well, I think like all, because you're involved in multiple different, we're not all one thing. We're not what we do, but what we do is definitely informs how we impact the world. What does it look like to bring your faith into what you do?
So I think when I first started nursing, I was very hesitant to broadcast my faith just because they teach us in school, like, know your biases, like don't force your religion on people and stuff like that. So of course I would pray. I do my devotion before work. I, listen to music. I have my AirPods in like right up until I got to the floor. I pray like as I walked onto the unit and everything. Just that the Lord would, guide my hands, help me to be, on point and paying attention to what's going on, but that like my patients felt calm and that they could see him working through. But now as I've grown deeper in my faith, I really don't care about whether or not someone is offended because I'm talking about Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. I can care less. Either you like it or you don't. But at the end of the day, I said what I said. So now I try to wear things that get people to ask questions. If you ask, then you open the doorway. So
Okay.
I don't feel like I pressured you. You saw something and you said, oh, what's that? And then I can say, so like my bracelet to tell us that Jesus' last words on the cross. A lot of people ask me like, oh, what does it mean? Oh, it is finished. And then I also have the tattoo. So then we start talking about that. I carry a little baby Jesus. I wear a fanny pack. So I have a little baby Jesus that's in my fanny pack. I have a scrub cap that I wear when I go to the OR that says Jesus loves you with John 3:16. And even with like amongst my coworkers, like I'll take my Bible out to the nurses station and I'll read the Bible sitting right there. I'll take notes. I'll play a sermon. And someone has even told me like, I didn't pray today. She was like, but I know I'm covered because you're here. And it's like, you don't think people pay attention, like they're like, what are you reading? Oh, I'm reading the Bible. And I was like, well, if she asked me that one time, I said, do you think that was a sarcastic answer? I said, because it wasn't. I was like, or did you think I was reading something else? And she's like, no, I really didn't. And I was like, no, yeah, I'm reading the Bible, girl. And she was like, oh, what are you reading? And then like, I'm able to talk to you about, okay, this is what I'm reading. This is what I'm learning. And then I'm talking about Bible babes because at this point we were doing the 31 days of Proverbs during December. So I was like, oh yeah, me and my girlfriends were doing nightly Zooms on reading Proverbs. So I'm reading Proverbs that way we can have a nice discussion tonight. So that's how I join it at work. And then joining it for Bible babes was like, girl, that's the Lord. Because I really cannot say because, like I said, I didn't want to do it. But I do feel like me being such a social person, like I'm just friendly. I just talk to people and it just comes natural to me. I think I get that from my mom, but she be talking to everybody. And I'm like, girl, you do not know these people. She's like, I do. And I'm like, I'm turning into my mother. But I think just that, like the Lord gave me this personality. So, I meet people and I just start talking to people and then like I say, I pray that when people see me, they see the Lord. So if people say, oh, you look pretty or, oh, you look nice. Oh, there's something about you. I'm like, maybe that's the Lord. That's what they're like, huh? I'm like, I ask that when someone sees me that they see him. So if you see something that attracts you to me, you see the Lord, you see the Spirit. You don't see me. And I don't want you to see me.
Okay. All right. And I honestly feel like I think that one of the tricks and tactics of the enemy is to bring about shame. So much. Part of my testimony is that the Lord really had to do a work in me. You were mentioning how you connected with Tiana, part of my story, and even part of my story with my husband, but my now husband is like, God had to break sin off of my life before I could move forward. And so, and even just little stuff that you don't even consider sin, like every sin, there's not big sin and little sin. It's sin, all sin. Anything that grieves the Holy Spirit, anything that grieves the Lord that He's not pleased with, like He does not want it in our lives. Yeah. And I feel like I was walking through that journey of healing and breaking things off of, and it's not even like bad habits, it's bad, it's like mindsets as well. Because after a while, you start thinking like, I'm not worthy because I have struggles, because I have issues. And that can really dampen, at least for me in my experience, it can really dampen my willingness to say yes to God, to say yes to something like a podcast, because I failed at the things that He has told me to do. And so for the reason why I brought that up was that because I know what it feels like to have that shame on me and to not truly feel free to walk in the joy that is promised to us. Because the joy of the Lord is our strength. Listen, I did not think I was going to preach. The joy of the Lord is our strength, but we don't get a chance to tap into that if we're not free to do so. So I guess my question is, have you had to overcome shame or anything to even truly embrace what God has for you in your nursing career, in your ministry of Bible Babes?
Oh, girl, because why are you in my business?
I'm not trying to be, and it's only what you want to share.
No, it's good. No, because I definitely struggle with shame and guilt and just like the not putting enough. So I don't have it on today, but I usually wear a necklace that says enough on it.
Ooh, that's
I
beautiful.
struggle with feeling like I'm enough. I feel like I'm worthy because of, not to say that I mean, we all have been in the world. So I grew up in the church. My mom's a minister. I don't know if I told you that. I grew up in the church. But then, you got to college, I kind of fell away, was doing my own things. Like, I don't really need church. And then I came back. I was like, no, I really do.
I really need church.
I really need church. I need this relationship. But the things that I did, like dealing with like lust and promiscuity and drinking and smoking and just doing all the things that the Lord really was trying to like shield me from.
For sure.
But I was like, no, like I'm grown. Like, it's not that bad. Like, the world is fun, or it seems fun. It's very enticing, especially like when you're in college. Going through all that and like living that life and then coming back, I did carry a lot of shame and guilt for decisions that I made when I was in the world. And I just felt like, I know that guy that I know he's forgiving. I know he gives grace and mercy. I was like, but I don't feel like I can.
Yeah.
Like,
That's real life.
I don't feel like I can be forgiven. Like, you say you throw it, into the sea of forgetfulness, and it's far from the east, it's from the west. But I feel like every time I went to God, I was going with all the things that I had done previously. So that weighed on me heavy, and I think that also played a part into why I didn't want to do Bible Babes. So our very first lesson was on Psalms 51, and me and Tiana were discussing it, and she brought up something. I can't remember what it said in the beginning, but she brought up something on the topic of abortion. And she was sharing her thoughts, and I was like, I immediately shut down because I was like, okay, like, I'm ready to go. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Okay, let's just wrap up what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna go and we'll do Bible study on Saturday. And I got home and I was sitting there and I was like, why did that bother me so much? What she said, because she didn't like, she wasn't like saying anything about me or anything. She just said what she said, and we moved on. And it was because I had so much shame and guilt because I had an abortion in the past. So she brought that up, and it immediately triggered me. And I was like, oh, I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk about this. I just Bible studying. And I really wrestled with the Lord that night. And I was like, why do I feel so strongly about this? It's because I had in my mindset that people are going to judge you. People are going to look at you differently. Like, you did something so horrible that's not forgivable. And I wrestled that night with, okay, am I going to bring this up in mind you, this is our very first Bible Babes Coffee in Christ ever.
Wow.
So am I supposed to bring this up? Am I supposed to talk about it? Like, you want me to tell my business to these girls that don't even know me? Like, how are they going to feel about me being a Bible Babes leader once I share this? And he was like, you'll have the words to say in the right time. And I was like, okay. So even that morning, I was like, I did not want to go to the study.
No.
But I went, And we discussed it, and somebody said something, I can't remember, and I was like, "Okay, this is the time I'm supposed to say it." So we talked about it, and after, I just felt so relieved. It was like I had been carrying this big secret around for so long, and I didn't want anybody to know about it. So to be able to say it and for them to be like, "Okay, cool," like brush past it. Like, "Girl, it's not like, girl, you okay," and moving on. You are. You can't keep holding that and walking around with that and carrying that guilt and carrying that shame forever, because you need to let it go. And my story helps other people to know that when you're in that situation, that's not a decision that you have to make. And I tell people all the time, like I've talked to my friends, I've talked to people that women that come in that I work with. I'm like, I get it that this feels like this is the only decision that you can make right now, and this is the best decision. I was like, but it's not. And I tell them, like, the Lord knew this was going to happen. He knows the end from the beginning. He knows every wrong turn, every wrong step you're going to make. And there's grace for that. There's mercy for that. And it all that redirects you back to where he needs you to be. So you have to learn the lesson in whatever it is and just move forward with that. Knowing that he's by your side, and he's going to give you the strength to endure and move forward. And that we don't have to condemn ourselves for the decisions we make or the things that we do, and feel like we could just never run back to God. Because I feel like that really kept me from running to him. And then once I finally did bring it to him and just lay it at his feet, like, I'm just like, okay. Like, I feel like the weight was lifted and I was able to actually be free, joyfully free in who he called me to be and the woman that he's growing me into being.
So all things that, yeah, when you said I was in your business, I was like, I didn't know. No, I didn't know I was in your, but thank you. First of all, thank you for sharing that and that you felt comfortable enough to share. That is so powerful. That how cool is God that he was able to break that shame and guilt off of you and you can celebrate life for others. I think that is so beautiful. I think it's beautiful for a lot of different reasons. And I feel like he always uses whatever our challenge is to bring us closer to him if we allow it.
Yeah.
Right. So Paul had a thorn in his flesh and he prayed and prayed and prayed for God to deliver him from it. But at the end of the day, he said, in my weakness, I am made strong. So it's not ironic. It's very much God ordained that a point of pain, he can use it as a point of power.
Yeah.
And I think that's beautiful. And I feel like just for women in general, it's important to talk about these things because a lot of us walk around with guilt and shame and silence over decisions that we made when we didn't know any better.
Exactly.
Or when we didn't have a full picture of who we are or what we can be, because a decision might have felt like a sentence.
Yeah.
And I think that that's beautiful to be able to share your story with the girls and with anyone else who might ask you, because it doesn't have to be a decision, doesn't have to define us necessarily. And I think it's also good to talk about, we as women, we have a lot of pressure on us. For some reason, society puts pressure of perfection on us, that we, if we have a challenge, that we are less than or not enough, or we do it to ourselves because we put these unrealistic standards of perfection and people pleasing on ourselves. But I love having spaces like this where we can just talk about, listen, this is what's really going on. And still, I believe that there's more to my story.
So that night that you happened to Bible, that was our first night Bible study to discuss, and we were in tears.
Yeah.
It's day one.
Yeah.
It's night one, and we're already in tears, but it's like how the Lord, like, even in all her mess, in all her sin, in all her running around, being promiscuous, being a prostitute, that's God still loves her. He still restored her. He brought her back from all of that and was able to use that story to show, like, yeah, you might try to run, you might try to do your own thing, but I'm always here trying to reel you back into me. I'm never gonna take my hand off you. If I'm gonna let you go, I'm gonna let you live your life. And you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna realize, like, this is not what you thought it was gonna be, and you're gonna want to come back to. And I'll be here, ready to accept you.
Listen, running from God versus running into God for his love and protection is so powerful. So part of my testimony is I didn't necessarily wasn't physically promiscuous, but I definitely was watching stuff. Like pornography had a really big part in my story. And I feel like that was where a lot of And then then all the other stuff, right? So I'm feeling less than. So then I start latching on and trying to be holier than now, but I have secret sin. Like, I mean, life is funny. We funny. We try to be better than people, but we really are not. Nobody's better than anyone. Oh, and doing research, I realized that is definitely a struggle for a lot of women, and it's not necessarily talked about. Yeah. It's a lot. It's like maybe 60% of what, like the ratios, women and men is like 60% women, and most of the resources are geared towards men. So it's just very interesting that even just sharing that, because actually I haven't shared that on the podcast yet. That's one of the things that I'm joyfully free from, because for years it felt like a weight. It felt like, who am I? Like you mentioned, who am I to be this leader? Who am I? Like, I'm over here going through an ordination process and having to like literally be honest about a lot of things that I had not brought to the surface. Who am I to have someone love me after that has been part of my story? Yeah. And I feel like when you were saying I hopped on Jose, I'm still reading the book. I might not be on the Bible study, but that is such a beautiful story of redeeming love. How God can love us despite what we've done and all the ways that we've run away, still accept us back into his family and use other people to do it. Because it's one thing for God to say, I love you. It's another thing for him to send someone in your life to confirm that and co-sign it. You're like, oh, wait, for real? Yeah. You do? You know my mess, but you still love me? That's God. Yeah. That's God. Oh, crazy. Very unscripted, very much unscripted. So going back to the nurse midwife part of your journey, because you're currently studying and this is something you want to do. Why is that important to you? And what do you hope to do in the field of women's health when you receive that certification?
I think it's important to me, of course, because we see the statistics. So like we see that Black women are dying, and that in itself is absurd, but I won't get on that soapbox. I think that is just really what drives me to become a nurse midwife, and just being in the setting of, we need more people that look like us to be in these places. I think that's really a big disservice to the community, because you can easily find Caucasian providers, we're very many. But then when you try to find a Black provider, we're very few. Or you got to travel, X amount of miles or hours to get to them. So I find joy in when I walk into my patient's room and I can see that they like relieved because I'm Black. Oh, that's like, hey girl, like, I got you. We good. It's gonna be okay. Like, but it also makes me feel good when I walk in. I give my patients all of them the same care. I'm me. I talk to them exactly how I'm talking to you. Like you, my girlfriend. We don't chit chat. We don't cut up. But when it gets serious, we don't be serious.
Sure.
But when I walk into a room and it's a Black patient, I also feel like, oh my gosh, like I get to be here when she needs it most. She's gonna feel more safe because I'm here. Wow. So I love that. And I'm just glad when I become a midwife, I want to make sure that I educate my community specifically. And I feel like I struggled with saying that. We had to write a paper about what was our ideal population. I was like, well, can I say that I want to work with Black people? Like, is that going to be frowned upon because I'm being that specific? Like, I'll work with anybody, but my target audience is Black women because I'm a Black woman. And I know what it's like to go to your provider and to not be heard, to be dismissed, to be ignored. And it's like, no, like, I know something's wrong and I need you to listen to me, and you're not. So let me find somebody else who will.
Wow.
So I don't want anyone to have to go through that. So I feel like if I become one of the certified nurse midwives in the area, it's like I can promote education. I can promote knowing the things before you go to the hospital. You're never going to know everything. I'm not here to tell you everything, but I can tell you what normal looks like, what abnormal looks like, and what, how we have to flex and flow with whatever we decide as far as pregnancy, birth, labor, and also GYN stuff like PCOS, menopause, all the things that we go through in our lives that isn't talked about because it's so taboo. And it's just like, well, let's not talk about it. We don't talk about it, it's not going to exist. And it's like, it exists, and we need to talk about it. We need to be educated on it so we know how to handle it.
That is great. I love that education is one of your passions. And I love that I was recently at this event for in honor of a fallen nurse midwife, doctor of nursing locally. And I love that that event was very much geared towards you need to know empowering women
Yeah.
to know their options and then what other service providers were in the area.
Mhm.
Were you a part of organizing that, or did you just kind of come in and like help facilitate? Because it was an excellent event, by the way.
I was a part of organizing it. So when I started working with Grace, that the Lord ordained that too, because it just so happened like I started working with her right as Janelle had passed. And they were very close. So I'm not taking her spot, but I feel like I was like the Lord sent me because he knew he knew what was going to happen. So when Grace brought this idea to the team, we were like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. So we had meetings talking about like what were the scenarios going to look like? How are we going to get it to flow smoothly? Who do we want there? So I was grateful to be a part. Like Grace is a very, she's passionate about educating too. So I'm grateful that I get to kind of have her as my mentor and help usher me into this profession and be part of the community and be part of making a change and being someone who isn't just talking about it, because we know we're talked out. We know the statistics. We don't have to continue to talk about what is happening. We know what's happening. What are we going to do to have change come about and to start seeing the numbers change, decrease? What are we going to do? Because I'm tired of talking. I'm tired of sitting and listening to panels, to people talking about the same thing. What are we going to do to fix it? And I feel like that event was a great start to, we got to start somewhere. We got to start having these conversations. We got to have this experience where you come with this scenario and you see, okay, do I go to the doctor? Do I go to the midwife? Do I need nutrition? Do I need a mental health therapist? Do I need a doula? Do I need to just go to my friends? Like, where in this organization, like who's going to help me and what is going to facilitate for this to be the best possible experience ever? Things that might come up, issues that might come up, but I know how to handle it and I know who to go to help.
And that's really good. And I felt like that is what I walked away from that event with, understanding like that there is a difference between a nurse midwife and a doula and an OBGYN. And there are other things, other resources additionally in the area, which we're in upstate of South Carolina, but there's other resources in your area that can help along that process. And not just for birth, but for pre-birth and then other women's issues. This might be a little bit of a loaded question, but in respect to women's health, women's reproductive health, what do you feel like is a least talked about facet of that, or maybe not least talked about? Why do you feel that, especially in the Black community, there's so many things that are not talked about?
Big thing that we kind of missed the mark on is preconception care. So I feel like, you go to your doctor, your PCP, you go for your annual visit, you get the checkup. Okay, cool, you're done. Then you may or may not go to your OBGYN that year too, because you feel like, well, I'm going to saw my primary doctor. Like, why do I have to go to the OB too? And then it's like, we're sick. The human race is sick. There's a lot more disease, you eat, all the things, obesity, it all plays a part. I want people to understand that you need to work on yourself before you plan to become pregnant. So if there's anything, if you have high blood pressure, if you have diabetes, if you have anemia, like had anything going on that you see a doctor for on a regular basis, get that under control before you try to add the stress of pregnancy. Because although pregnancy is beautiful, it's stressful. It is a natural physiologic process, but your body recognizes as, okay, something is off. Like this is different.
Gotcha.
Because you're not normally pregnant. It's not like we walk around pregnant every day.
Good point.
Like it's a change. So making sure that you're your healthiest self before you get pregnant and that everything before that is under control before you invite a baby into the situation. And I also think being open and honest with your providers. Like I feel like a lot of times we talk to our girlfriends about things.
Oh, good point.
We try to self-diagnose based on, oh, well, my mom had that. Oh, my aunt had that. My sister had that. My friend was with them. I'm like, oh, I'm just going to do what they do. But it's like, you never even talk to the person who went to school to help you. ChatGPT isn't a real thing for my symptoms. Talk. If you got questions, go to your provider. Ask them these questions. Be honest about what's going on in your body if you think something is wrong. And if they're not listening to you, find somebody else to come to that will listen to you.
I recently changed my doctor because I was not satisfied with my care and even just how they addressed me. I did not feel comfortable. And and my dad is a primary care doctor, and he even told me, Lacey, if you are not comfortable, if your spouse is not comfortable, y'all need to find someone you are comfortable with. And again, feeling heard, I went to Grace. Did I ever tell you that?
I think you did.
I don't even remember. But so we went to Grace for a consult, and we were like, we had all these questions, and she asked us questions about what our doctor had said, just to kind of give us get a better picture. And she said, you should not leave confused from your doctor. You should not feel so anxious that you're not comfortable asking questions. Like, that's not okay. And I was like, really? I thought maybe because they were talking about surgery that I potentially missed something, or I wasn't smart enough. No. It's my body. I should be able to understand what someone's talking about when they're talking about. I think that is such good advice. So speaking of advice and resources and knowledge, I did find out at that event that there are some classes that are going to be offered. Would you like to share a little bit about that? So maybe we can link them, or any other resources you feel like be helpful to share.
Each month it's going to be something where you can come and ask your questions. We'll give like a quick little spiel about whatever it is that we're talking about, but we really want you to come with your questions.
Got it.
And ask, so that you guys know that you're informed, because like the Bible says, the peers is a lack of knowledge, right?
That is true.
So we want you guys to be informed. We want you to be equipped to know, even if you guys don't come to us, to know, okay, let me go back to my doctor next. Oh, well, I went to this event and we talked about diabetes, and I wanted to know, like, what if we tried this? Like, I know you want to put me on this medicine, but what if we tried this for, a month or two, and then reevaluate my numbers? And then if it doesn't improve, then, we can do what you recommend.
Sure.
Or, just having the option to do something else as opposed to just immediately going on medicine. But if there are some things where you need the medicine, I'm all for Western medicine. I don't care what people say. You feel how you feel. The Lord made us, and He also made people to help make medicine to help cure diseases, or to help disease be managed better.
Sure.
So I'm all for that. But I'm also for natural remedies too. But if the natural is not helping, babe, we got to do something else. Okay.
Gotta kick it up a notch.
So yeah, the classes will be great. I also offer childbirth education classes.
Oh, really? Will you send me that link so I can link it? Okay.
I also offer just like consultations to women. Like, if you just want to talk 30 minutes of just us just chatting about whatever questions you have. Again, I'm not acting as your medical provider in that moment. I'm just someone who has knowledge of the medical system and certain things. So I like to share that with other people.
I love that.
So I also did that. Yeah, I'm here. I'm an open book. Like, I feel like people are always like, what are you passionate about? This is what I'm passionate about. So I can talk about women's health. I can talk about labor and delivery. I can talk about all the things, like, all day, and I won't get bored, like, because I just love it.
So this is what you are definitely called to do.
Yeah.
I love that is a passion of yours, and God has continued to open doors for you to exercise your passion and give your knowledge. How can people connect with these services that you're talking about? I know we can link in the classes, but I would love to link directly to you so that you can refer out to what other resources you recommend.
So it's Knitted in Love LLC on Instagram. That kind of just journey, or shows like my journey to becoming a nurse, my journey through nurse midwifery school, and just different things like that. So you can follow that, Knitted in Love LLC on Instagram. I also have a website, and that as well.
I didn't know any of this.
I don't be promoting it like I should.
Well,
it's like you ask the Lord person. I'm like, Lord, how can I like make money in my sleep? Like, how can I continue like doing what I love?
Yes.
So how can I, do all the things and still share what I love? And he was like, do that. So I did it. And follow me on Instagram, book consultation if you want.
Yes, they want to book a consultation. You would like to book a consultation and have a medical chit chat with Nurse Kim.
If you are searching for midwifery care, we do all things too. We don't just deliver babies. So all the things from first period to menopause, birth control, STD, STI testing, PCOS. If you're a woman, if it's a woman problem, we can help you. And if we can't help you, we'll send you to somebody who can.
I love that.
So Legacy Women's, follow us on Instagram. We also are Legacy Women's Health and Wellness on Instagram and the website. Come see us.
I love that. Thank you for bringing your passion, your expertise, and the word to the Joyfully Free Journey podcast. Please, as Kimberly said, do not take your health for granted. If you have questions, ask them. And she is a safe place. I definitely vouch for her that she is a safe place to be able to ask your questions and bring a loving response. Knitted in love.
Yeah.
Right. Covered by the word. Amen. Amen.
Like you said, how do I infuse it?
That's how.
That's how.
That's how. And I hope that this conversation was encouraging to those who are even trying to reconcile their faith with their passions, with their calling. It all can be integrated. And I'm so grateful to you, Kim, for sharing your story.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And until next time, do not forget to pursue the things that bring you joy and live authentically free. Bye-bye. What an amazing conversation with my dear friend Kimberly. I hope that you left with some empowerment, some encouragement, and a whole lot more joy than you started with. I'll be sure to link in the description all the resources that were mentioned in today's episodes, how you can connect with Kimberly and the work she's doing in the community, her business, Knitted with Love, Legacy Women's Health, as well as the Bible Babes. And as always, if you are looking for someone to partner with you as you move through your journey of joy and freedom, I would love to come alongside with you and extend a complimentary coaching call with me, Coach Lacey, through the Joyfully Free Coaching Program. Thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to my channel, share this episode with a friend, and come back for our next installment. Until then, I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
I am joyfully free.